Alrighty, traders. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, and welcome to the live show here. And we're going to be talking about the Bank of Canada, and we're going to discuss exactly what it is that they've done and how can that affect us in the marketplace. Now, with that being said, traders, I'll see you right after this. Alrighty, good morning, traders. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Everyone's looking at the CAD this morning to figure out but it's not just the CAD, it's the US as well. We also had some data coming out in the US as well. And so we're going to take a look at the data right here, and as you can see right here, Bank of Canada maintains their policy rate. They will continue with the quantitative tightening, not easing, tightening. And so, what does that mean? What does that mean? That means that they are going to reduce the money circulation, and that would mean they are trying to once again reduce spending and reduce inflation. They have mentioned that the inflation numbers are slowly and gradually moving down, which means that they are on track. Now, the inflation number did go up in this last report. I believe it was a couple of weeks ago. Let's go take a look over here. It was this week. Inflation numbers here for the Canada. Let's see if it was here. My bad. There it is. All right. So we did see some increase in inflation for the Canadians, but I think this was all due to the fact that we did have a lot of spending over the Christmas period. So you can't really take that as an example. You got to go back and take a look at the overall and see every month exactly how things have progressed. And so they are seeing that inflation is slowly ticking down. Yeah, we might have a month that's slightly higher, but then it comes back down again. But they seem to have seem to think they have it all under control. So what is it? How does that affect the markets? Well, this morning as the rate came out, we saw a big push to the upside. So this was also due, by the way, this is US dollar CAD, and we had some US data that came out this morning as well. And the US data was very, very strong. If you take a look over here, we had strong manufacturing PMI as well as flash services PMI out in the US, and that came out pretty, pretty solid. Now, we do have right now the press conference taking place at the moment right now. And we want to go ahead and take a look and see how the markets going to react. Now, what I'd like to do is I'd like to look at the chart from a technical perspective and simply go ahead and take a look and see whether or not this is in fact going to be of some concern technically. So I'm going to go back to the daily time frame right here, and if you look at the daily time frame, we do see a pattern appearing here on the daily. And the pattern that we're seeing here is in the form of this bearish crown right here. So for those that can't see this, let me just go ahead and pull this up. For those that cannot see this, this is what we're currently seeing right here, right? We're seeing the market creating this crown right here. And so as the market comes back up to retest possibly this high right here, that's where we anticipate the right tip to be at, around about 3,700. Now, if it's going to get to 3,700, we need to see price doing something like this. So we do expect a dip and then another rally in order to get up to around about that 37 level. So I'm going to say that any bit of rally that we're seeing in the dollar CAD right now would maybe just be temporary and not a long-term move. I don't think we're going to see a long-term move. I think this is just going to be a market reaction. And I just realized that I'm not showing you my chart properly. There it is. Maybe you can see that better now. My apologies. So this is how we've seen it. This is the type of movement we're seeing right here. And so so any sort of reaction that's taking place today, once again, short-term reaction. So where do we expect price to move back down to? I mean, I guess that's always going to be the question. If we are going to see price moving back up, where is that price going to be at? All right. Well, price going up. We see price rallying up to around about 137. But the dip here, where could the dip be? Well, this is where we have to go down to the lower time frame, and we're going to take a look at the market cycles here. And so if I look over here, I did notice that we had a wave structure that formed like this. And this is critical right here. Price has tried to break through this level a few times previously. We'll have to see if it breaks above. If it does break above, then we may be going back up north, which means we may end up taking out that high and heading north. But if it holds up at this level right here, then we're already going to be seeing the market trying to chase after the low right here and chase after a lower price. So where is that lower price? Well, if I go ahead and put in some fibs on this from the top here down to the bottom, we can see that around about this area right here, which is about 133.80, is where we're anticipating the market to go back down to. Now, we can go ahead and compress this chart a little bit more, just to see a little bit of a bigger picture here. And if you do that, you can see that we do have trend lines that the market's currently right now testing the backside as well. So this again gives us a little bit of indication that price may want to go ahead and move back down. Now, this is key. And I need to go ahead and update this. This is not nice. I can't see what's going on here with this color. So let me pull in this color here, so we can see the numbers here. All right, there we go. All right, now, this area right here is our 1.618, and that's priced at these lows here. And so these lows here are becoming also a very key level that price may end up moving down towards right about here. So I'm going to say that if I go ahead and zoom that in, if we do end up holding up at this level right here, around about, 34.86, and a price does not pull, does not go above that, and this trend line up here at the top does hold as resistance, then we could be going for two targets. One conservative target here at 133.85. The next target is going to be down here at 133.45. So it's going to be key to see how this plays out. Now, as we go into the 15-minute time frame, maybe even the 5-minute, we take a look here. We're seeing the press conference taking place at the moment right now. And just before the press conference, we had this big wick going up here. And since the press conference started here at 10:30, we saw another rally in the dollar, maybe a sell-off on the Canadian dollar. Now, I have to go ahead and take a look and see which one's really moving right here. Is the Canadian dollar getting weak, or is it the US dollar getting strong? So I'm going to go to the CAD Swiss right here. In the CAD Swiss, I'm noticing that the Canadian dollar has strengthened a little bit since the press conference took place. So I'm going to say that the move that we're seeing here on the US dollar CAD could be possibly driven by a stronger dollar rather than a weaker CAD, because it does look like we get a bit of strength. Now, with the press conference taking place, there's a good chance that we're going to start seeing price moving up a little higher with the Canadian dollar. And if that's the case, then this should hold up at this resistance here. We should hold up at that point. All right, and I'm going to go ahead and put a line across there. So this is the area right here that we're expecting price to hold at. And if it does hold there and turns around, this might be a good sell-off to the downside as we start chasing after those two targets I mentioned, 133.80 and then 133.47, give or take a few. And those are the areas that we're anticipating the market to move to. But the key thing right here is we've got to see what happens over here. Now, traders, again, we can always look at fundamentals, but it always comes back down to the technical move. All right? It is the technical setup that ultimately would change the market buyers. All right? I look at the technicals because the fundamentals could be a little bit confusing, to say the least. But at the moment right now, what we would look for is, does the technicals line up with what we're seeing or hearing with the fundamentals? And at the moment right now, technically, it's telling us if we hold up at this point right here, then the market is just in a fourth wave structure, and therefore we're anticipating the market then to stay in this range and then to break out. So stay in the range means it stays at this resistance and then eventually looks for it to go ahead and break through this low right here and chase after the next downside target. The key is, can we hold at that resistance? Now, let's take a look at the flip side and say that if price does break through this resistance and breaks through this upward trend line that we have right here, then what is going to be the upside target? Well, traders, we got to go back to fundamentals. You know, one of fundamentals, technicals. The one thing that is pretty cool about technicals is that if the one side fails, there's always an alternative. And what is the alternative? The alternative is the upside move. So what I would do here is I would take a look over here and I draw in my Fibonacci going long here. And now I'm looking for price to go up to this level. And this level just happens to be right here at a previous high. All right. It's right here at a previous high. And so because it's at a previous high here, then we would probably see price doing something like this, where it's gone ahead and done this. And if it goes up to this point right here at 35, looks like it's going to be around about 35.29, then this area here would be a perfect sell opportunity to sell price back down to this support down here, because it's going to come back down to the support as it starts working its way back up north. So once again, this is the first level that we need to break above. And if we do break above that, then yes, we could get to 35.29. If we don't, we're going to be chasing after the lows down here again, and we'll be chasing after 33.85 and 33.50. Those are the levels that we're looking for. So traders, the reason why I really didn't want to go into, I didn't want to do a live broadcast during the actual rate decision, is because sometimes that rate decision can be just a market reaction. Most of the time, that move is already been discounted in the marketplace, and so it can be a little bit of a downer going into a fundamental like that. But coming into the latter part of the session, which is now the press conference, which is, again, exactly in 45 minutes after the fact, we could see a better reaction in the market. And so that's the reason why we're now looking at it. And take a look here again, 15-minute time frame. Look at that price rejection, not once but twice. This is a good indication that that the market is struggling above that level, and that a downside reaction might be possible. Now, fast up, fast down. That's how it works. Fast up, fast down. So if the market is convinced, or let's say not maybe the word convinced is not the right word. If the market is confirmed that this resistance is holding, we could end up seeing price coming down really quickly in the short term. So again, let's not react before the time, but let's go take a look and see what the data does on this particular pair. Now, this is not the only pair that trades against the Canadian dollar, although I'm paying a lot more attention to this because we do have positions that we're selling on the US dollar CAD. But let's go take a look at some other pairs that also reflect what the market's doing. And before we do that, just a quick video here to go ahead and say thank you to our sponsors for this video. All right. Traders, if you're looking for a broker, check out ACAP. Fantastic broker, fantastic people working there too. So check out ACAP. We have links down below. If you're looking to open up a trading account, go ahead and check out the links down below. All right. Going back to the market, let's go ahead and take a look at something else here. We're going to go to, let's pull up we had the Euro data out this morning. Let's go take a look at Euro CAD this morning and see how that's playing out as well. I do want to go to the larger time frame first. I'm going to go to the daily time frame here. Now, traders on the daily time frame, firstly, we got big consolidation right here, huge consolidation. Price is ranging between this area right about there, and I can almost take it to this area right about there, to about there. So we're in a range. Now, this is a daily time frame, and there is also a tighter range happening right about here. Okay. So we got two ranges, one at the top, one here. Now, the market did sell off quite deeply here, and so it makes sense why we would be expecting a little bit of rally, all right, as the market comes back to retest this resistance here, and then turn around and hit back to the south. But it's not. It's sitting in this range. Now, if it breaks out to the south side, which could be expected if the Canadian bounces back from this news, if we see a bounce back on the Canadian dollar, then we could see price breaking below here, and that would mean, and again, remember the data that came out this morning for the Eurozone, what did it look like? Well, here it is, flash manufacturing. So we had some positive and some negative data that came out. So it was a bit of both. So a little bit of like, well, where is it really going? And if you look at the revised numbers, even the revised numbers came out a little bit better than previous as well. So overall, I would say it was a positive day on the euro, but at the same time, there's a bit of conflict here with the negative numbers coming out as well. So a bit of both, but you can see as we go into the euro chart right here, we can definitely see that we've got the market moving sideways inside this area here. And it hasn't broken out yet, so we haven't got a distinct breakout point yet. All right, now, here's the 1 hour time frame as we go a little lower. And we can see right here that we're getting some price rejection right here. But also, again, the Canadian dollar is, based on the press conference, looks like we're getting a little bit of a bounce. I'm seeing a little bit of an increase in the CAD Swiss as well. So it does look like that we are seeing a little bit of movement coming back on the back from the CAD itself through the press conference. I do want to take a look over here. All right, cool. All right. Now, I did go ahead, and for those that don't know, I did go ahead, if you're following my signals, I did go ahead and close out a little bit early on our New Zealand CAD position. I was going to chase after a little more on this trade, and I've gone ahead and actually closed out and actually picked up a sell position here on the CAD. Now, if I go to the larger time frame, the reason for that is here. That's the reason right there. Okay, let's delete that line. Let's get. Actually, you know what? Let me do this and pull that line in, and I'm just going to get it covered in. Let's change the color there. All right, so you can see that there's this support right here is now becoming resistance. And so I now look at this and I go, okay, we've got a wave structure that's forming right here. And that is showing me that we're now going to get to a point after the market. If the market holds up at that resistance, we could be heading back down to around about 81.24, right about there. So what is that going to mean? Well, this is going to mean exactly what I think is going to happen, and that is that the dollar is going to, the Canadian dollar is going to bounce back. And we're going to see some strength coming back into the Canadian dollar, and that's going to create a downside move towards that 81.24 level. So New Zealand CAD, I think we're going to hit resistance. I think not hit resistance, we are at resistance. I think the resistance is going to hold, and I think we're going to see the market starting to head back down south off that resistance. Hey, just a quick one, guys. We tried to get a Spanish translator in the room today. Just unfortunately we could not get that right. But just a little heads up, if you want to review the video after it's been posted, give it a day. The information you can actually use in YouTube, you can actually use the closed captioning and change that to any language that you want. So there is a way to be able to do that inside the YouTube channel. Okay. And I can probably go ahead and show you what that looks like in a minute. All right. So, all right. So Gustav says that the US dollar CAD is dropping. Let's take a look right here. Not necessarily. We're still trading at that resistance. It's not quite. I mean, we had these two little spikes here, but again, you know, if this candle moves down, if this candle goes down and closes down below here again, if we have another long wick to the upside right here, then I almost have no question about this that we're going to see a very quick move to the downside. You know, if we get three price bars giving us a huge candle to the upside, I think this is going to be I think this is going to be a downside move. Now we got Nicholas says invert the chart for Gustav. All right, should I turn the chart around so Gustav is seeing a downside move? That way we can confirm that the market is actually going down. All right, so that's the going back to the US dollar CAD. Now let's go back to let's go look at the pound CAD right here. So let's take a look at pound. And let's see how the pound CAD has been dealing with this news. So here's the 15-minute time frame. We can see this initial dip here, then a rally. Again, clearly weakness out of the Canadian dollar. That's causing this rally. But now let's go to the larger time frame and let's take a look at the bigger picture. Because a lot of times when we look at something, it's not what it seems. It is not what it seems. But here we go. So if I look over here, I can see. And again, traders, what we have to do is we have to look at, do we have some sort of structure here? I don't see a lot of support coming from there. Market's not testing that trend line there. Let's take a look over here. We don't have a test of that trend line, so we cannot really use the trend lines as a good confirmation. Let's go ahead and let's see what else we can pull up here. Okay, so the one thing I do see here is a wave structure. Here it is here. Now that's not comforting for many because, especially if you're short on this, because that tells us that the that this pair could go ahead and rally all the way up here to around about 174.62. Now I do see something though. Let me see here. All right, so we do have quite a bit of resistance coming up here. Let me go ahead and get some trend lines going up from the bottom here. All right, so we could say with confidence that the market is range bound in a wedge, and so the price level is 72.14. That's about 20 pips from where it's trading right now. We've got to see if price holds up at that level. If we break through that level, then clearly the market's chasing after this area right here. About there. All right. And I keep looking at the CAD Swiss right here at the price to see what the CAD's really doing. And the price of the CAD sitting at 64.02. So we haven't seen some movement out of the CAD yet. That's pushing. Now, this could also mean that the Swiss could be really weak, and that's why it's not driving the CAD Swiss too far down. Although we did have quite a bit of movement this morning, as you can see. This is the daily time frame. If I go to the 1 hour, this is what the 1 hour looks like right here. So we can see that the 1 hour did sell off quite a bit this morning from a high at 64.73. So it's dropped down 73 pips in the morning's trading. And so and this happened during the European session, and I'm going to say that this could be due to maybe some weakness out of Swiss, not necessarily any weakness out of Canadian dollar. But then on the flip side, we can go to the US dollar CAD, and we saw the US dollar CAD also falling during the European session, and that would mean that the Canadian dollar was getting stronger, or it was the US dollar getting weaker. So A lot of conflicting signals that we're seeing right now in the marketplace, but I'm gonna say that this downside move right here was due to possibly Swiss strength, and that could also be the reason why we're getting some Swiss strength is because of the uncertainty before some data coming out for the US. So if traders are concerned about where the US economy is going, then they will flee to safe haven pairs like Swiss, Euro, JPY, and of course the US dollar if needed. But um, take a look at JPY this morning. All right, the JPY and specifically US dollar JPY, USD JPY, and we can certainly see that this has been a safe haven move in the market this morning because the JPY dropped in morning trading quite a bit. We had a big fall in the morning trading right here in the US dollar JPY. And so this is all coming back to strength out of the safe haven pairs. So traders, if you don't know this, let me tell you this. Okay? You have risk on, risk off trading environments. The Dow this morning, let's take a look at the Dow. And I'm going to actually take a look at the DAX as well. The Dow is positive on the day. If the Dow's positive on the day, what is that going to mean for the US dollar? It should mean, it should mean bearish. If the Dow continues to rally this morning, then I'm going to say that the US dollar CAD is not going to break through this level, and we're going to actually see it turn around and head back down south. So again, in the next 3 minutes, we've got this 1 hour candle that's going to close. Let's see how this 1 hour candle does close. But look, according to what I'm seeing in the Dow this morning, and let's go ahead and take a look at the Dow. This is going to be, I believe this is US 30 on this chart. Let's take a look at the Dow this morning right here, and let's see what it looks like here. So the Dow, this is the 1 hour time frame. It looks like it opened up positive on the day. So there it is. We opened up positive on the day above the previous close. And if we look over here, the Dow's actually a little range bound too. But if let's go pull up some more data here. And I'm actually going to go to the daily on this one here. And I'm going to take this last rally that we have on the chart here, and it's coming off this area right here. So the last rally shows that we do have still upside potential here for the Dow to go to 38,359 or 58. And so that means that if I look at this movement here, means that we have now an irregular flat pattern setting up right here. So which means that the market's done this. It's gone ahead and rallied and failed to, actually it's a running flat, failed to break below this area right here after coming back below there, and now in a sharp rally. So this area right here is absolutely a target for the Dow. So I would be expecting the Dow to continue its strength towards the 38,358 plus some. It's been a strong move on the Dow, and we all know that what goes up must come down. So at some point, we're going to see a correction move. I don't think it's going to happen today. I think we're going to see a continuation of this upside move in the Dow. And because of that, then that brings me back to the US dollar CAD right here. And I think US dollar CAD is going to hold that level and it's going to sell off. So let's see how this plays out. Here it is. This 1 hour time frame. All right, there it is. It's right here, still at that level there. Looks like it's slightly above these lows right here, but it's still below that trend line there. So again, let's see how the next hour closed out. If we close out with a bearish engulfing, a strong bearish engulfing right here, again, a downside move. Let's take a look at the dollar itself. And if you look at the dollar itself, so again, so this is a complete clarity right here. If you look at the dollar itself, the dollar selling off, it is the Canadian dollar that's driving the market at the moment right now. And rightfully so, with the rate decision as well as the press conference that's taking place. But as the European session comes to an end, I think we're going to see a reversal. We always see reversals at towards the end of the European session. And I think we're going to see that. This rally that we've seen now over the last 30 minutes or 40 minutes or so, I believe we're going to start seeing some changes, and there's going to be a downside move in US dollar CAD. I'm banking on a US dollar sell-off, and I'm banking on the New Zealand CAD sell-off. I've already gone and sold on the New Zealand CAD. And I'm banking on, let's take a look over here. I'm banking on Aussie New Zealand dollar sell-off as well. All right. And just as a quick heads up here, this is what the Aussie looks like right here from a daily perspective. Let me get this up here. We're hitting this resistance here. Again, hidden resistance. I'm going to see price rejection of that. And I'm going to see price coming back to retest this area right here. Let's go ahead and mark this off. Price is chasing after this low right here. And that's priced at 87.65. So I think we're going to see a continuation of a sell-off. I think this area right here is going to hold, and price is going to continue to move down south. We can also see the trend line being tested as well. It's creating resistance for the market as well. And 87.62 is going to be the target for the Aussie US dollar. Aussie CAD. And we're going to hold at that level. CAD Swiss. What goes up must come down, traders. This movement that we're seeing right here had to happen. We had to see a pullback. All right, we had to see a pullback. Let's go to 4-hour time frame. Actually, let's see here. Well, yeah. So take a look over here. What goes up must come down. And why? Because the market moves in waves. Here we go. Price goes up. We get to the let's get the high there. We get to the 1.618 right about there. Came right to the button. Now we're looking for, we'd like to have seen a price move above that, but it did not. But that's okay. Here we go. Here's the new swing right here. And notice how the markets come back to retest this area of support right here, which is coming off those highs, coming off these bodies right here. This is going to be anticipated as our buy zone right here. And we will be expecting price to now, let me just type up here buy zone. And change the color. Let's go black on that. And there it is there. So I will be expecting a U-turn back up here. I'm looking for price to go to at least 65.14 here. And that's what we need. We need a break above 6,500 for the day. And once we're above 6,500, I'll be expecting the market to chase after this high right here at the top at around about 68.31. So again, let's see what the market does at this support that we're at right now. I expect a bounce here, and I expect another break above here. Maybe not in today. I expect a break above this high towards 65.14. Once we get the daily close above 6,500, we're on our way to 68.31. All right. All right. Well, traders, that pretty much wraps up the session for today. Once again, I think we're going to see a nice little bounce off that resistance on the dollar, US dollar CAD. I think we're going to see a downside move on that. Good luck with your trading. We'll see you guys in the next session. Hey, do me a favor, before you leave, go ahead and smash the like button. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel. We are in 2024 going to get a lot more active here in the live YouTube channel. And we're all going to also get our translators. We're working on getting some sort of translation, whether it be through an app or have an actual translator. But we're going to get a translator for our Spanish group as well. So with that being said, traders, have a fantastic afternoon, and I'll see you next time.